In the last weeks, I've been counting how much coffee I've drank, and not to solve myself typical questions like how many coffee I drink average on a daily routine or how much caffeine I take into my body. Am I a caffeine addict? I don't know. I don't care. But there was one question that I really wanted to solve. How many times I raise my cup of coffee average in one single day? Seems like less interesting or common question, but let me get to it. This last year, I entirely changed my life and quit my previous job to dedicate myself into making and design 3D printed cars, mostly like the ones that you can see on the background. I really love making and 3D print these designs, but the problem is that designing these cars requires a lot of time, focus, attention, and keep my mind highly focused on what I'm doing. And to keep my mind on those high standards, I need coffee. A lot of coffee, vast amounts of pure coffee. And this takes me to another problem. Every day I spent like 12, 14, 16 hours working in front of the screen. I really needed to take a break from time to time. And so here's where the problem solving starts. What should I make? Well, the first option is to take a breath outside home just for a few minutes, but staying that much far away gives me so much anxiety, because I really enjoy staying out from home. This is addictive. Now I don't want to go back into the screens, but I have to. Second option is to 3D print a fidget spinner or anti-stress ball to relax my mind and get lost in my thoughts. But again, that seems like I'm losing my time. Third option, probably the most liked and executed by everyone out there, scrolling through social media for a few minutes, reels, TikTok, shorts, you know. But we all know how this ends. You will end up spending more than just a few minutes. And so after all these options, all I had to do was to retire myself from that idea of searching ways of relax my mind while staying in front of the screens and still keeping focus. Wait a minute. So here's where my mind and my creativity took me. What if I create a fidget spinner slash something that turns and moves while not investing more energy than I will already use in my daily workflow on something that I was already gonna make and that gives me back on the way some kind of satisfaction or relaxing moment. And not content with this fidget spinner also must be a coaster for my coffee. So I did some research and I went back to the first question that I did on this video. How many times I raise and leave my cup of coffee on a single day? Well, it turns out that 56 times average in one single day. But the scary part, which is also good to me, is that people raises and leaves their cups of coffee on average from 8 to 60 times a day. At least that's what ChatGPT says. So now I had an excuse to make a coaster that moves every time I place something on top of it. This is KCS Coaster. So the working principles are basic. Just place something with a bit of weight on top of it, and every time you leave it on the coaster, the exterior ring moves. The kinetic energy is being stored in a 3D printed spring that later will release the stored energy to give back that exterior ring movement. And so that's it. An over-engineered coaster with a very simple functionality. Not satisfied with the results, I wanted to step up the game, because I wanted to release this coaster on MakerWorld crowdfunding. In fact, by the time this video is being uploaded, we are just a few days ahead of the finish line and the campaign is almost done. So after looking at all the successful campaigns of MakerWorld, there's two key things that makes products more successful. One is that the most successful models are modular, so you can create your own style, your own shape, and even more. The next key thing is that the most successful campaigns on MakerWorld are related with models that light up. So I step up the game, KCS Coaster, Modular, and installed lines on it. For now, I have released 6 different thematics: Geosmart, Arashi, Karma, Heavy, Ozone, and CF Vortex. And now the great thing is that with each coaster you can also create your lighting styling. So now some of you may think, well, this is just a simple modular coaster, but with lots of engineering and perks behind it. Is it hard to assemble or build? Well, that's another key feature on KCS. It can be assembled in less than 10 minutes because it has no bolts or all the spare parts needed to make it work apart from just some lubing oil. Everything is 3D printed and that's all you need, a 3D printer. But even though, let's see how you can assemble KCS Coaster main core. So the first thing you need to do is to take the main base of the coaster. Now we will need to take this bolt. This one will be the adjuster for the strength of the coaster. We will need to add this washer right to the bottom of the bolt. Once it's been installed, check the rotation and also check that it's not moving out from place. Now we will need to install this movable base where the spring will go. This will be the thing that will compress the spring, and this one will be going up and down depending on the rotation of the bolt. Now we can start adding the lubing oil for the bolt. This is to make the whole work way much easier. Now we can add the 3D printed spring. This one is easy, just leave it there in place. Now we will need to install the rails and the pillars for all the planetary gears. Remember to check that small dent must go in that place. This one is easy, plug and play. We can start adding the lubing oil for the inner, outer channel and even into the pillars of the planetary gears. Now we will need to install this outer ring gear. Once you install it into its own channel, you can start to play with it and check that there is no friction and it moves kind of freely. Now, the same with the planetary gears. Install each one, doesn't matter the direction. And once you have done that, you can again check that everything moves freely. Next step is to install the top parts of the coaster. We will start with this inner gear, which by the way have these small control arms where these small valves gearings goes. We will only have 3 pairs. This is the part where the inner part of the core, where the endless worm style bolt will go. Check to that dent, as we will need to install the first part. There's 4 of them, only one have this small dent where that must be aligned with this part. Now you must see that there's different sizes for the plugs. So as you can see, this one is not matching, this one is smaller, so change it. First, you will need to install only 2 of them. Now you can place it inside its own part. Align with the small dents right there. Check that everything moves, and now you can install the other one where there's these small parts. And the last one will be the one that doesn't have any attach to the inner gear. If you want, this is optional, you can add super glue to these components to have them stronger, but at first it's not needed. Once you have installed everything, check that everything moves up and down freely. Now, again, we can start lubing all these channels. Move them just to spread all the lubing oil. And now it goes this fixing part that will keep the gears in place. Check again that we have another dent that we will take a look later. This is the top part of the coaster where the cup of coffee will go. It's made out of 3 parts. As you can see, you must assemble the top ones. You can see there's like a bolt style on the top part. You must place it into the bottom one. You must turn it clockwise until all the way down. Now that we have the 3 parts, it's way much stronger. The next thing is just to install these small legs that will keep the plate right aligned. Install them all the way in, because if these small legs are a bit out, it will create some friction that we won't want in the future. Again, you can lube these ones if you want. Now let's attach it to the inner gear core. As you can see, there's 2 pillars that has small dents. there's the other two that don't have them. So check on the inner core, as some of the spillers will go in places where there's the holes for these small dents. Align everything in place, and now gently start to pulling in the inner core into the top base. If some parts go out, just press them in. Now you must hear a click. That means that the coaster has been installed. As you can see, some parts can come out from place, but just align them back again and place everything together. Don't worry, because later the spring will place these parts in place, not allowing them to come out. Now I'm gonna be taking this ring out just so you check and remember that these dents must be aligned. As you can see in this part, some dents are not going all the way through to the channel, but that one is going all the way through. That's the one that you must take care. Now we're gonna be installing the Cap T lights from Bamboo Lab. As you can see on these components, we have the exactly placing holes for these components. So place the 4 lights . And now we're gonna be placing the top cover for these components. There's 3 things that we need to align: the holes for the lights, these channels that will be for the legs of the top part, and later we will need to align the small dent, as you will see later. So first align the legs with the lights. Now everything once it's aligned, check for that small dent. That notch must be aligned with the one on the cover. If everything is aligned, press everything down until it's in place. If the legs of the base had been aligned when you try to twist the cover, like you can see, it shouldn't twist and move. But if you press from the bottom, as you can see, these must go up and down, even if you rotate the inner ring. Now again, check the pillar of that small planetary gear and check the small dent that we have. You must align the front, the top cover, the top hole of that gear, and now press all the way in. If everything has been aligned, the dents, the planetary gears, now everything should be working perfectly fine. Remember, you can adjust the strength with the bottom bolt. Lube everything by moving and twisting it a bit. And now we can go with the part which is modular. So now you can choose which KCS coaster you want and need and just place them. Remember, you can print different colors for the top base, but now we're gonna be leaving this one. So first goes the bottom cover. All you had to do is to align and place it all the way in. Now it goes the outer ring. Again, align the 4 pillars. Check if the lights work perfectly. And now, finally, the top-bottom part of the KCS coaster. Again, align everything. Press all the way in. And now we have our KCS coaster. Remember that to turn on the lights, you must press down the base. And that's it. Now all you have to do is to leave a cup of coffee or of tea to check that everything works smooth and correctly. Now there's the most important part, enjoying your KCS coaster. So thanks so much for watching this video. Remember, if you like KCS Coaster, you will have a link in the description just so you don't miss the opportunity of getting your fidget spinner lamp coaster. See you on the next video.